Hello, hi guys, ArchieLuxury, the Pontiff, the Governor's Governor. And today I'd like to ask you guys, I want to talk about for richer or poorer. Remember, like, subscribe, tell your friends. Look in the description for 10 ways you can help me stay full-time on YouTube. Paid reviews, I do telephone consultancy, I do it all. Now guys, for richer, for poorer. And I gotta tell you, one thing about life is that there are always people who have more than you, and there are always people who have less than you. And as a collector myself, it's very easy. You look on the internet, everyone loves the internet, and you see some fantastic watch collections. You see some people who've got, they collect Pateks. They got half a dozen Pateks. You think, ooh, look at that. Calatrava, World Time, Nautilus, Aquanaut. They got some really cool stuff. Maybe a chronograph Patek. You think, ooh. And, you know, it's one of these things. You see some fantastic collections on the internet. You see people who've got 10 Rolex. 10 Rolex. You think, ooh, a lot of money. A lot of money. And then you see people who struggle just to get one watch. And then you see people who don't have any watch. You listen to Dave Ramsey's radio program on YouTube and you see people who have less than no watch. And it's an interesting world. Sometimes it's very, very easy when you are collecting watches to get addicted to wanting to build a great collection and show it off. The reality is it can be quite difficult. It can be hard. For richer, for poorer. There are people who have amazing collections. There are people who have no collection. Very difficult concept. And I mean, you know, there's watches I see, I think, oh, I'd love to have that, I'd love to have that, I'd love to have that. And reality is, it ain't that easy. I had a good friend of mine recently who, it's a bit of a long story, I don't want to divulge too much, but he was in a relationship and the partner had promised a couple of very expensive watches. And he goes, oh yes. He goes, I didn't really want them, but they're coming. And he's just discovered that his partner doesn't have the financial means to buy any of these. And it's kind of like a rug being pulled out. And he's a nice guy, really cool guy. He's got a no-date Submariner. And he was expecting some beautiful stuff to come, and it ain't coming. And it's kind of sad because he got his hopes up. He kind of, it's very sad, very, very sad indeed. And you know, you can see so many people out there. You see these wonderful collections. You know, they got Submariner, Sea Dweller, Patek, all these stuff. You think, Jesus, how do you guys pay for this? And it's very hard. It's very hard. This is the reason the shooter wristwatch is so popular, because let's be honest there, if you're a working guy, you manage to get one Rolex. Okay, you may have bought it 10 years ago. Then you get an Omega Steel Sports. And then you think, oh, I really like one of these new ceramics. You tell the wife, she ain't that interested. If you've got a home and children, she says, hey, honey, we need that money to raise our family. We don't need you spending it on superfluous luxuries. And this is what happens. This is what happens. It's very hard for a man to build a decent collection. He says, well, Archie says I need a diver, I need a GMT, I need a dress watch, I need a chronograph, and I need something really amazing in gold. She may not see the funny side to that. You see, she may not see the funny side. And this is the really big problem with collecting watches. They're damn expensive. They're really, really dear. And they themselves, you try and build a decent, semi-decent collection. You could probably get one, a second one. Her patience after 2 or 3 watches. That's why the filler. We want things, the homage, the nasty, cheap, vicious filler comes out to play. That's the reality. That is the truth. That is the reality. And I gotta tell you in all honesty, these are very, very expensive things. And it's kind of, you know, that's why I really got a lot of time for people who have small collections, who built it slowly. I did a paid review not so long ago for a guy who had a Rolex Oyster Perpetual 1002. His dad got him. His wife got him an IWC Pilot. Was it Pilot or chronograph? IWC chronograph. And now he's in his, it must be late 30s, early 40s. He's now looking at getting a watch for himself. And, you know, he's probably, you know, he's held down a job. He's got a house or an apartment, got a car. He's done all the things that have been expected of him. But there hasn't been thousands left over to buy wristwatches. And this is the whole thing. They are very dear. They're dear. They're dear. It's an expensive hobby. And you try sneaking them in. For richer or poorer, I like that type of collection. That's pretty good. He's got 2 nice. He's got a Rolex and he's got an IWC. And now he's getting a 3rd one. Well, maybe that is what normal people do if they're very, very lucky. This 10-piece collection thing you see on YouTube and on the internet, maybe that's the 1%ers. That's 1% of collectors do that. And it puts a lot of pressure. Like you think, oh, geez, look at this. It makes you think, geez, I want a bit of this. I want a bit of that. And the reality is these are very, very expensive things to get. It's very hard to get this sort of stuff. And I gotta tell you, it's an expensive hobby. It's an expensive hobby. And if you're not buying the right things, you can lose money. You can lose money. I mean, average person, you buy an IWC new, it's a reasonable Swiss brand, good Swiss brand. At the moment, it's very hard. You get a Panerai, the Paneristes. Some of these Panerais are very hard to shift at the moment. The economies, just the whole world scene has changed. And it's a sorry state of affairs. There are people, for richer, for poorer. There are people with better collections. There are people with worse collections. Sometimes you've just got to be grateful and say, I'm lucky. I'm lucky. I'm very lucky. Be grateful for what you have. Be grateful for what you've got in life. And there's an old saying, if you don't wish too hard, it might come true. Maybe there's a bad side to having these wonderful things. So, you know, I just want to make this video because I know what it's like. I mean, I've got a small collection. I got five pieces. 5 pieces. I've had to struggle. I've had to do so much to get those 5. And I'd love to add another Patek. I'd love to add a Submariner or a Sea Dweller. I'd love to add some of this shit. I'd love to add a 2-tone bluesy ceramic. I'd love to do that. But I don't have the readies. I don't have the readies. I do not have the money. I don't have the money. And I got to tell you honestly, guys. Got to tell you honestly. Got to tell you honestly. Sometimes you got to be appreciative for what you've got. And that's the reality. That is the reality. So, guys, don't be begrudging the fact. You know, I mean, I'd love to go and buy. What would I buy now if I had, you know, it's good to do a bit of daydreaming. What would you do if you won the lotto? What would I buy? So I think I'd buy myself. I'd really like to get. I'd like to get a 5396 paddock annual calendar. I'd like to get. No date. I'd go Sea Dweller. Sea Dweller pre-ceramic. Breguet Type 20 on a bracelet. I'd go Erin Vale with no date. What else do I really want? 5396 paddock. Sea Dweller. Type 20. Oh, I'd add a. I'd love to have a AP. I'd go 15400. Stuff it. Get the bigger one. I got the IWC now. Go for the bigger one instead of the 15300. What else do I want to add there? And I'd add a couple cool watches too. Just things that I bought on the spur of the moment. I'd love to do it. I don't have the money. I don't want to go into debt. I don't want to sell my kidney. Sometimes in life, you got to be grateful for what you got. I'm Paul Pluto, the method actor who plays Archie. Please like, subscribe, tell your friends, look in the description, tell me what you think. See you later.